The prison was dark and cold, filled with the sounds of growls, clicks, and strange alien languages. Liam Stryker had been thrown into this place hours ago, chained to a wall, bruised from the capture. The walls were made of thick black metal that seemed impossible to break. Alien prisoners of all shapes and sizes stared at him, some with curiosity, others with amusement. The guards, towering creatures with sharp claws and glowing eyes, laughed as they walked past, jeering at him. "Look at the weak human," one hissed. "He will last a day, maybe less." Liam stayed silent. He had been captured, yes, but he was far from helpless. Every moment in the prison he observed. He noticed how the guards moved, how the prisoners reacted, and where the weak points in the metal walls might be. He could see patterns in the routines, the guards' shifts, and the way some prisoners tried to exploit the chaos. Even though he was chained, Liam's mind worked faster than anyone expected. He was not just a prisoner, he was a strategist waiting for his chance. The aliens mocked him constantly. One large, reptilian prisoner stepped forward, towering over Liam. "Do you even fight, human? Or do you just cry in the corner?" it sneered. Liam looked up, unafraid. "I survive," he said simply. The alien laughed and pushed him lightly with its clawed hand. Liam barely moved, shifting his weight and twisting just enough to avoid a serious injury. The alien stumbled slightly, confused by the human's balance and calmness. Other prisoners started whispering among themselves. There was something unusual about this human. The first night in the prison was the worst. Liam had to sleep on a cold metal floor, with the sounds of alien growls and chains clanging around him. But he did not close his eyes fully. He spent the night memorizing the layout, counting steps between guard posts, and noting weak spots in the walls. He flexed his hands and legs in secret, feeling his body remember old training, moving muscles the way he had learned in Muay Thai classes back on Earth. The other prisoners were too focused on survival to notice, but Liam was preparing quietly. By morning the guards arrived for the first test. They made the prisoners line up for inspections. Liam noticed the smug looks on their faces. They expected him to falter. One alien guard, massive with 4 arms, stepped in front of him. "You think you are human? Let's see how weak you are," it said, extending a clawed hand to strike. Liam didn't flinch violently, but he shifted his weight, dodging with a small step and twisting his body to absorb the blow. The guard hit only air, then stumbled slightly, confused. The other aliens laughed at Liam, thinking he was just lucky. Liam stayed calm, his eyes scanning the area for patterns and opportunities. During the day, other prisoners approached him, some curious, others skeptical. "Why don't you fight like a human?" asked a smaller alien, its voice nervous. Liam smiled faintly. "I will fight when I need to," he said. "For now I watch, I learn, and I survive." He did not need to boast. His calm presence, the careful way he moved, and the alertness in his eyes made the other prisoners respect him quietly. Even the larger, more aggressive prisoners paused when near him, sensing there was more to this human than size or strength suggested. The guards noticed too. One of them approached, towering above Liam, claws clicking against the metal floor. "You are too quiet. Weak humans are loud when they are afraid," it said. Liam looked up, calm and steady. "Silence can be stronger than noise," he replied. The guard narrowed its glowing eyes and laughed, clearly amused, before walking away. Liam had survived his first day without serious harm. That, in itself, shocked the other prisoners, who expected him to be hurt quickly. By the second day, Liam had started moving subtly in the chains, testing his strength and flexibility. He practiced small, controlled motions that no one could notice, turning his wrists, flexing his legs, and remembering techniques from Muay Thai. These movements did not break his chains, but they kept his body ready. He knew that one day he might need every muscle, every reflex to defend himself or protect others. He was not just a prisoner, he was preparing to become a force the aliens would regret underestimating. That evening the prison fell quiet. Most aliens slept, exhausted from the day's activity. Liam lay on the cold floor, stretching silently, moving with careful precision. He could hear faint footsteps in the distance, guards patrolling, and whispers from other prisoners. He imagined himself standing, strong and fast, ready to take control if needed. He thought about the Muay Thai strikes, the knees, the elbows, the kicks he could use to defend himself even against larger aliens. He smiled faintly. They mocked him now, but they had no idea what he was capable of. The next morning, a new group of prisoners arrived, massive beings from distant planets. They looked at Liam and laughed immediately, pointing and shouting insults. "The human is tiny. He will break in seconds." Liam did not respond with anger. He simply observed, noting their movements, how they carried their weight, and how they attacked each other when challenged. He could see patterns and weaknesses, the subtle ways a strong opponent could be unbalanced. He waited patiently. His time would come. As days passed, Liam adapted to life in the prison. He avoided unnecessary fights, survived the guards' games, and quietly trained his body and mind. He earned a reputation among the prisoners, not for brute strength but for intelligence, patience, and calmness. He noticed that aliens underestimated him constantly, assuming that humans were weak and small. Liam knew that one day he would reveal what they had mocked, and that moment would change everything. At night, when the prison was quiet, Liam practiced controlled strikes, small movements in the shadows. He imagined an opponent coming at him, bigger and stronger, and visualized using balance, speed, and precision to overcome them. His muscles remembered every kick, every elbow, every technique he had trained for years. He was readying himself not just for survival, but for a day when the aliens would learn the truth. Humans could fight with skill that even the strongest beings would respect. The first week in the prison ended with Liam still unbroken, still calm, and still observing. The other prisoners began to look at him differently. The guards were intrigued. The massive aliens who mocked him were starting to notice something unusual. This human did not panic, did not flinch, and moved with quiet precision. Liam had survived not by brute force, but by patience, observation, and preparation. In the darkness of his cell, Liam whispered to himself, "They think I am weak. Let them mock me. Soon they will see what a human can do." Outside, alien guards and prisoners continued their routines, unaware that the human they laughed at was planning a future they could not imagine. Every strike, every movement, every calculated step was being stored, ready for the moment when he would finally show them the power and skill that humans could bring to any fight. And for the first time, Liam felt a small spark of satisfaction. In a place where he was mocked, underestimated, and surrounded by danger, he had already begun to win. The battle was not yet visible, but the human prisoner was already preparing to prove that strength was not measured in size alone. It was measured in skill and the heart of a true fighter. The prison echoed with laughter and jeers as the guards and larger alien prisoners continued to mock Liam Stryker. Every day he was forced into minor challenges, small fights, or tasks meant to humiliate him. One massive alien, with arms like tree trunks and scales that shimmered in the light, stepped in front of him and sneered, "Human, you are tiny. You will never survive here." Liam's hands flexed at his sides, but he remained calm. "I survive," he said quietly. The alien barked a laugh, nudging him with its claw. Liam shifted his weight, avoiding the push effortlessly, and the alien stumbled slightly. Whispers ran through the crowd. There was something unusual about this human. Another day the guards decided to make a spectacle. They lined the prisoners up in the arena-like yard, forcing Liam into a mock fight with a creature twice his size. The alien roared and charged, confident he would crush the human in seconds. Liam didn't panic. He remembered his training, his Muay Thai strikes, his balance, and his awareness. As the alien swung a massive arm, Liam ducked, twisting, letting the attack pass harmlessly over him. He barely moved, precise and calm, almost teasing the creature. The alien tripped on its own momentum, roaring in frustration. The crowd went silent for a moment, staring at the tiny human who avoided a giant's strike. The guards laughed, thinking it was mere luck. They pushed Liam toward another alien prisoner, a tall, spiny creature with sharp claws. "Show us your strength, human," one guard hissed. Liam simply nodded, assessing the opponent. The alien lunged, claws extended. Liam shifted his stance, using footwork to avoid the attack and counter with a light but accurate elbow strike. The blow hit the alien in a sensitive joint, causing it to stumble. It was not enough to defeat it fully, but enough to surprise everyone. The guards stared, muttering, confused. This was not a human who panicked. This was someone who understood fighting on a different level. During the mock fights, Liam observed patterns in his opponents, the angles of their attacks, the speed of their reflexes, and the weaknesses in their large bodies. He moved subtly, barely pushing himself to reveal his full strength. Every movement was controlled. Every dodge, step, or strike was measured. The aliens were still mocking him, thinking he was weak, but Liam's patience and skill grew with each passing day. He practiced mental discipline, visualizing attacks and counterattacks even as he endured jeers and humiliation. One alien prisoner, particularly cruel, decided to humiliate Liam publicly. It called him forward in front of the prison yard. "Watch the weak human fail," it shouted. The guards roared with laughter. Liam stepped forward slowly, eyes calm, muscles relaxed. The alien tried to intimidate him, swinging its claws and shouting insults. Liam didn't move wildly, He dodged just enough to avoid the strikes, keeping his balance and watching every reaction. The alien became frustrated, striking faster, swinging harder, but Liam moved like water, precise, controlled, and always just out of reach. The guards gasped. Something was different about this human. Other prisoners began noticing too. Whispered comments spread through the yard. He's not panicking like the others. Look at his stance, it's perfect. Does he know something we don't? Liam remained focused, ignoring the whispers. He had no intention of showing his full strength yet. Mockery could be used to his advantage. Aliens underestimated humans, and this gave him space to observe, learn, and plan. Every insult, every shove, every laughter-filled taunt was training for him. Even the guards started paying attention. One of them, a tall figure with 6 eyes, muttered, "This human, he is strange. He is calm even when attacked. He watches, he learns." The other guards nodded slowly. Liam could see their curiosity and caution growing. That, he realized, was the first victory. The alien's mockery had failed to break him. Instead, it had allowed him to study them, understand their weaknesses, and prepare for the day he would demonstrate real strength. In the quiet moments between challenges, Liam practiced controlled movements. He flexed muscles, shifted weight, and visualized strikes, kicks, and elbows. He imagined opponents charging at him, imagining ways to redirect their force, counterattack, and defend without brute force. Even when mocked, he remained calm, almost meditative. The other prisoners began watching him practice secretly, curious about the human who moved with such precision and patience. One evening, the guards decided to test Liam further. They brought in a particularly aggressive alien, twice his size, with thick armored skin and massive claws. "Destroy him," one guard shouted. The alien charged with all its strength, roaring. Liam shifted his stance, moving lightly, dodging the first attacks. He used small Muay Thai techniques, elbows, knees, precise kicks, targeting joints and sensitive points. He did not overpower the creature. He redirected its momentum, forcing it to stumble repeatedly. The alien could not anticipate his movements, and the crowd was silent in disbelief. By now, some of the prisoners whispered openly, "The human, he is different. He fights not with strength but with skill." Liam heard them but remained focused. He had to survive, yes, but he also had to be ready for the moment when the aliens learned the truth about him. The mockery was a tool. The insults, the forced fights, the laughter, they all served to sharpen his mind and body. After weeks of enduring humiliation and forced challenges, Liam had changed. He was not bitter or angry. He had grown stronger, faster, and more confident. The aliens' mocking words no longer affected him. He moved with precision, balance, and patience. His Muay Thai training had become second nature, flowing in perfect coordination with his observations of alien movements. Every insult became a lesson, every shove became an opportunity to learn. One day during another mock fight, Liam used a subtle feint. The alien opponent lunged forward aggressively. Liam twisted, delivered a knee strike to the midsection, followed by a controlled elbow that knocked the creature off balance. The guards and prisoners gasped. This was no accident. The human moved with intelligence and skill, not brute force. The mocking laughter turned to silence, replaced by growing fear and respect. The other prisoners began to murmur, "The human, he is a master of fighting." That night, Liam lay on the cold floor, stretching muscles and reviewing the day. He had endured weeks of mockery, but he had learned, adapted, and prepared. Soon, the aliens would understand that humans were not to be underestimated. They would learn the truth, not in fear but in awe of skill, discipline, and courage. Liam smiled faintly. They had mocked him for now, but the moment of revelation would come. Outside, the prison hummed with alien voices, chains, and laughter. Inside, Liam's mind worked like a machine, every insult converted into a plan, every mockery turned into preparation. He whispered quietly to himself, "Let them laugh now. Soon they will see the human edge." The other prisoners watched him from shadows, curiosity growing. Even some of the guards were uneasy. Something was changing. The tiny human who endured mockery was no longer ordinary. Weeks of mockery had done their work, but not in the way the aliens expected. Liam had survived, learned, and trained in secret. The next fight, the next challenge would be different. The aliens' laughter had strengthened him. They had underestimated not only his skill but the discipline and focus that humans could possess. The day was coming when the prison would witness a human unlike any they had mocked before, and the world would remember that strength does not always come in size, but in mastery, courage, and the heart of a fighter. The prison yard was tense that morning. The air was thick with alien chatter, clicks, and growls. Liam Stryker stood among the prisoners, calm and alert. He had endured weeks of mockery and forced challenges, but today something was different. One of the largest alien prisoners, a towering beast with 4 muscular arms and jagged claws, approached him. The crowd of prisoners and guards circled, curious to see the human fail, or perhaps to see if he could survive once more. "You are brave to stand here, human," the beast said, its voice low and threatening. "But bravery is useless against me." It lunged suddenly, swinging a massive claw in a wide arc. Liam did not flinch. He shifted his weight quickly, twisting to the side, letting the attack pass just over his shoulder. The alien stumbled slightly, confused. A murmur ran through the crowd. This human was fast, precise, and calm under pressure. The alien struck again, faster this time, claws slicing through the air. Liam dodged, stepping lightly and pivoting on his heel, moving almost like water. Then, with a sudden burst, he delivered a sharp elbow strike to the alien's joint, followed by a knee to its midsection. The creature roared in surprise and pain, staggering backward. The guards blinked, uncertain if this tiny human could actually harm the massive prisoner. Liam's eyes stayed focused, reading his opponent's movements, ready for the next attack. Another alien, smaller but fast, jumped into the fight, thinking it could end Liam quickly. The human did not panic. He pivoted, using the attacker's own momentum against them. A precise kick sent the smaller alien tumbling into the yard wall. Liam's movements were fast but controlled, each strike, each dodge perfectly timed. The crowd fell silent. Even the mocking laughter of guards had stopped. They were witnessing something extraordinary. The large 4-armed alien lunged again, trying to overwhelm Liam with raw power. Liam stepped to the side, ducked under one arm, and countered with a series of strikes, elbows to the shoulders, knees to the midsection, and a final low kick that destabilized the creature. It fell heavily to the ground, panting, stunned by the human's speed and precision. Liam stood his ground, breathing evenly, muscles ready for any move. The prisoners whispered among themselves, astonished. "He is amazing," one hissed. "I've never seen a human fight like that." Even the guards, who had come to see a weak human humiliated, were stunned. One muttered, He is not weak. He is a fighter, a master." Liam did not respond. He only watched, observing the alien's movements and anticipating any reaction. He had been mocked for weeks, but now the truth was clear. He was no ordinary human. As the 4-armed alien struggled to rise, Liam approached carefully. He could end the fight if he wished, but he did not want to kill. Instead, he used precise Muay Thai strikes to control the creature, forcing it to the ground repeatedly. The alien could not anticipate the human's speed, nor the accuracy of his moves. Liam's training had turned into instinct, every action flowing naturally. The other prisoners and even some of the guards were watching in awe. The fight lasted only minutes, but it felt like hours to those witnessing it. Liam moved like a shadow, striking, dodging, and countering with calm efficiency. The aliens realized that sheer size and strength were not enough. Skill, intelligence, and timing could overcome even the most powerful opponents. The mocking laughter of days past was gone, replaced by silence and disbelief. When the fight ended, Liam stood over the fallen 4-armed alien. He extended a hand not to strike but to help it up. The alien hesitated, stunned by the human's strength and control, then accepted the gesture. The crowd was silent, shocked by the unexpected act of honor. Liam had proven he could fight, but he had also shown discipline, mercy, and control, qualities the aliens had never associated with humans. Whispers spread through the prison. "He is a Muay Thai master," one prisoner said quietly. "No human should be underestimated," another added. Even the guards, who had expected to humiliate and control him, looked uneasy. Liam had turned the tables. He had survived the mockery, learned from it, and now demonstrated a skill that even the largest aliens could not match. After the fight, Liam did not gloat. He returned to his small cell, stretching muscles and reviewing the events. He had learned more than just survival. He had learned respect, timing, and the importance of calm under pressure. The other prisoners who had once mocked him, now looked at him with awe and cautious respect. The guards, too, began to reconsider how they treated humans. One muttered to another, "This human, he is something different. We cannot control him with mockery alone." That night, as Liam rested on the cold metal floor, he thought about the days ahead. He knew more challenges would come, more aliens would try to test him, and larger threats would appear. But he also knew that he had discovered something powerful. Humans had an edge, a combination of skill, intelligence, and courage that could surprise anyone. The mockery and tests had been a training ground, and now the first strike had revealed the truth. In the shadows, Other prisoners quietly practiced their own movements, inspired by Liam's skill. They began to see that size and raw power were not everything. Strategy, precision, and focus could turn the smallest human into a formidable force. Liam watched them from his cell, understanding that he could lead not by domination but by example. The aliens had learned something crucial that day: humans were not to be underestimated. As the prison settled into silence for the night, Liam whispered quietly to himself, "This is just the beginning. They mocked me, but soon they will see the full human edge." Outside, the guards patrolled cautiously, wary of the human who had just turned a humiliating challenge into a display of mastery. The other prisoners whispered in awe, and the alien crowd that had once laughed was left silent. Their perceptions changed. The first strike had proven one thing: humans could fight with skill, intelligence, and courage far beyond what the aliens expected. Liam had survived mockery, controlled his opponents, and left a message that would spread throughout the prison. Size did not matter. Strength alone did not matter. What mattered was skill, focus, and the heart of a fighter, a truth the aliens would never forget. And in that quiet moment, Liam allowed himself a small smile. Weeks of preparation, patience, and endurance had led to this. The aliens had mocked him, laughed at him, and assumed he was weak. Now they had learned something very different. The human prisoner was not just surviving, he was a fighter, a strategist, and a master of Muay Thai. The first strike had changed everything, and the real challenges were only beginning. The days after Liam's first strike passed quietly at first, but the atmosphere in the prison had changed. The aliens who had once mocked him no longer laughed openly. Some watched him carefully, whispering among themselves. Even the guards, who had expected to see him humiliated, now gave him a cautious glance. Word spread quickly. The human was not only strong in skill but precise, fast, and disciplined. The prisoners began to see him as someone different, someone who could survive challenges no one else had endured. Liam continued his routine, but now it had a new purpose. He practiced movements in his cell, stretching muscles, perfecting strikes and counters, while also observing other prisoners. He saw fear, curiosity, and even hope in their eyes. Some aliens approached him quietly, asking questions about how he had fought the larger prisoners. Liam explained little, showing only small demonstrations of balance and timing. The aliens began practicing in secret, trying to imitate his movements. Slowly, respect grew, even among those who had once considered him weak. One of the guards, a tall alien with glowing blue eyes, watched Liam from a distance. "Why is he not afraid?" it muttered to a companion. "He moves differently. He thinks differently. This is not normal." The companion shrugged. "Humans are unpredictable. Perhaps we underestimated them." The observation was accurate. Liam's skill and calmness made him appear larger than he was. His body was small, but his mind and technique were enormous, and that combination began to command attention. In the yard, a group of weaker prisoners was being attacked by a larger alien. Liam stepped forward instinctively. He did not strike aggressively, but he moved in a way that blocked the attacks, redirecting the aggressor's force. A precise knee here, an elbow there, a small feint, enough to protect the weaker prisoners without causing serious injury. The larger alien, confused and off balance, finally retreated. The prisoners who had been helpless looked at Liam with awe. You saved us," one whispered. "How?" Liam simply smiled. "With skill. You can learn it too if you try." Over the next few days, Liam became a quiet leader among the prisoners. He trained them in small ways, showing them how to use balance, timing, and observation to defend themselves. He taught them to notice the aliens' patterns, to anticipate movements, and to react calmly rather than panic. The prisoners began to gain confidence, inspired by the human who had been mocked but never broken. Some aliens who had been aggressive toward him now approached with caution, realizing that respect was safer than ridicule. The guards noticed the change as well. One day they decided to test Liam again, sending 3 large aliens to corner him. The prisoners held their breath, expecting a fight. But Liam did not panic. He moved smoothly, using angles, precise strikes, and redirections to control the attackers. He did not aim to hurt them, only to defend himself and maintain balance. The guards watched silently, impressed despite themselves. The humans' movements were not only skillful, they were intelligent and deliberate, a combination they had never seen before. Even the alien prisoners who had once mocked him began to treat him differently. They would step aside when he passed, nod in recognition, and occasionally ask questions about techniques he used. Liam answered patiently, demonstrating small movements without boasting. Respect grew naturally not because of fear but because of consistent skill, discipline, and calm leadership. The human who had been laughed at was now a figure others looked to for guidance. One evening, a violent dispute broke out among some of the prisoners. Liam stepped forward quickly, positioning himself between the two groups. He did not shout or use brute force. Instead, he used timing and movement to deflect attacks, block strikes, and keep the conflict contained. His calm authority and precise actions drew attention from everyone, including the guards. By the time the fight ended, the prisoners who had been aggressive now looked at him with cautious respect. Liam had shown that humans could lead not by fear, but by skill and intelligence. The prison authorities began to reconsider their assumptions. A commanding officer, observing from above, muttered to a subordinate, "This human, he is unlike any other species we have encountered. He is small yet he commands respect. He fights without rage, controls without strength alone. We must monitor him closely." The other nodded. Perhaps humans have qualities we have overlooked for centuries. Liam had not sought recognition, but it came naturally because of his actions. As the days continued, Liam trained in secret with other prisoners who wanted to learn. He taught them small Muay Thai techniques, focusing on balance, redirection, and observation. The prisoners became more confident, able to defend themselves in small skirmishes without relying on brute strength. They began to see that humans were clever, patient, and capable of turning disadvantages into advantages. Respect for Liam was no longer optional, it was earned deeply and sincerely. One morning, a particularly large alien who had been mocking Liam for weeks tried to challenge him publicly. The yard was crowded, the guards and prisoners watching. The alien lunged aggressively, claws ready. Liam moved calmly, sidestepping, deflecting, and using small strikes to control the attacker's momentum. The alien stumbled repeatedly, unable to anticipate the human's precision. Finally, Liam stopped, standing steady, and extended a hand to the alien, signaling the fight was over. The alien hesitated, then nodded slightly, a silent acknowledgement of respect. The crowd erupted in whispers. Liam had not only survived but earned honor in the eyes of the strongest aliens. That evening, Liam returned to his cell, muscles sore but mind alert. He reflected on the past weeks, the mockery, the forced fights, the patience and preparation that had brought him here. He realized that humans' true strength was not size, rage, or brute force. It was discipline, intelligence, observation, and the courage to face overwhelming odds. The prisoners he had trained looked up to him now, and even the guards treated him with caution and curiosity rather than contempt. In quiet moments, Liam continued his own training, stretching muscles, practicing strikes, and visualizing scenarios. He understood that respect alone was not enough, skill had to remain sharp and preparation constant. Yet he also knew that the prisoners and even some aliens were beginning to see humans differently. They could no longer mock him without hesitation. Respect had grown from fear and curiosity, but it was real and deepening every day. The prison was no longer a place of humiliation for Liam. It had become a place of influence, learning, and preparation. The aliens who once laughed at him now watched cautiously. The prisoners who had feared him now sought guidance. Liam had turned mockery into opportunity, ridicule into respect. And he knew deep down that the next challenge, the one that would truly test him, was approaching. As the twin moons rose over the prison, casting pale light on the metal walls, Liam whispered to himself quietly, stretching his shoulders and flexing his legs. They are beginning to understand, but they still do not know everything. He smiled faintly. Respect had been earned, but the full truth of human skill and courage was yet to be revealed. The rise of respect was only the beginning. Soon the aliens would see the true human edge, and no one would mock again. The prison was tense that morning. Alarms echoed through the corridors as the guards shouted warnings. A group of rogue aliens had started a violent rebellion, attacking both prisoners and guards. Chaos spread quickly. Many prisoners panicked, but Liam Stryker stood calmly, assessing the situation. He had survived mockery, endured challenges, and earned respect. Now it was time to show the full edge humans possessed. The first attackers were massive alien brutes, swinging claws and smashing anything in their path. Liam moved quickly, dodging and weaving between their strikes. He used precise Muay Thai techniques, elbows, knees, and kicks, to redirect the attacker's energy, keeping himself safe while protecting weaker prisoners. His movements were fluid and controlled. Every step, every strike, every shift of weight was calculated. The rebels were surprised. The human was not only surviving but countering with skill and intelligence. Prisoners who had learned from Liam followed his lead. Small aliens and weaker species moved strategically, avoiding direct confrontations and supporting each other. Liam coordinated them with subtle gestures and signals. He directed movements, told them when to hide, when to strike, and how to use the environment to their advantage. Rocks, walls, and corridors became tools, not obstacles. The attackers were confused, struggling to adapt to the humans' intelligence and strategy. One of the larger alien brutes charged Liam directly, expecting to crush him easily. Liam ducked under the first swing, pivoted, and delivered a knee strike to the midsection. Then he struck an elbow to the shoulder, destabilizing the alien, and followed with a low kick to force it off balance. The brute staggered and fell, unable to anticipate the small human's speed and precision. Prisoners and guards alike watched in disbelief. Humans could fight like this? Against such overwhelming strength? Liam had shown them the answer. Other attackers tried flanking the group, but Liam anticipated every movement. He moved quickly, intercepting them with minimal effort but maximum effect. He did not aim to kill, he aimed to control, to protect, and to demonstrate the power of strategy combined with skill. The other prisoners began to gain confidence, striking when they could and retreating when necessary, all following the human's example. Fear turned into coordination, panic into strategy. The prison guards who had once doubted him, now watched carefully. One whispered to another, "This human, he is not just surviving. He is leading." The other nodded, eyes wide. Liam's calm authority and precise movements were impossible to ignore. He had taken the chaos of the rebellion and turned it into an organized defense. Every strike, every movement, every decision demonstrated a combination of courage, intelligence, and discipline that the aliens had underestimated. In the heart of the chaos, Liam spotted the main rebel leader, a massive armored alien with glowing eyes and claws like swords. The others hesitated, fearing the human who had already proven his skill. Liam stepped forward confidently. He knew he could not overpower the leader with brute force alone. Instead, he used a combination of dodges, feints, and strikes, using the alien's momentum against him. A knee to the side, an elbow to a joint, a quick sidestep, all precise and controlled. The leader stumbled, unprepared for the small human's timing and strategy. The other prisoners took advantage, following Liam's lead. Together, they cornered the rebels, forcing them to retreat or surrender. Liam moved with incredible speed and focus, controlling the battlefield despite being vastly outnumbered. Every movement inspired those around him. The aliens who had mocked him before were shocked and fearful. They had assumed humans were weak, but now they had learned the hard truth. Humans could combine intelligence, skill, and courage to overcome even the strongest opponents. By the time the last attackers were subdued, the prison was silent. Guards and prisoners alike looked at Liam with a mixture of awe and respect. He was not just a fighter, he was a strategist, a leader, and a symbol of what humans could achieve. Even those who had once doubted him quietly acknowledged his skill. Liam's patience, endurance, and preparation had paid off. The human's edge had been proven in full, undeniable, and clear to everyone present. After the chaos, Liam helped weaker prisoners to safety. He did not boast, he did not gloat. He had proven that humans could survive, lead, and inspire, but he also showed mercy and discipline. Those who had mocked him now approached him carefully, some asking questions, others bowing their heads slightly in acknowledgement. Even the guards treated him differently, no longer seeing him as weak or insignificant. That evening, as the prison settled, Liam reflected on what had happened. Weeks of mockery, challenges, and observation had prepared him for this moment. He realized that humans' true power was not in raw strength or weapons, but in intelligence, strategy, courage, and the ability to adapt. He had taken the chaos and turned it into order, the fear into respect, and the doubt into acknowledgement. Humans had an edge, and it was now visible for all to see. The prisoners he had guided looked to him with hope. They had learned that size and strength were not everything. Discipline, skill, and intelligence could turn even a small human into a force to be reckoned with. Liam had taught them not just how to defend themselves, but how to think, how to observe, and how to act decisively under pressure. The respect he earned was real, built on action and proof, not words. Even the alien guards recognized the shift. One whispered, "Humans, they are clever, fast, and precise. We cannot underestimate them." The other nodded slowly, finally understanding that strength was more than muscle. Liam had changed their perception forever. The small human they had mocked had proven that courage, intelligence, and skill could overcome size, power, and intimidation. As Liam rested that night, muscles aching but spirit strong, he smiled faintly. The prison had been a crucible, and he had emerged not only alive but victorious in his own way. He had turned mockery into respect, ridicule into leadership, and fear into inspiration. The edge humans possessed was not just physical, it was mental, strategic, and moral. In every way that mattered, humans could rise above expectations, even in a world dominated by aliens. In the following days, the prison was calmer. The rebellion had ended, and the remaining prisoners followed Liam's example. Even the strongest aliens treated him with caution and respect. The word spread quietly, then louder. The human prisoner was a fighter unlike any they had known. Small, disciplined, and intelligent, he had proven the human edge in full. Liam continued to train quietly, keeping his skills sharp and watching the prisoners he had helped guide. He knew more challenges would come, more dangers would appear, but he was ready. Humans had an edge, and now everyone knew it. Size, brute force, and intimidation could no longer dominate where courage, skill, and intelligence thrived. As the twin moons rose over the prison, Liam stood at the central yard, looking out at the prisoners and guards who had once mocked him. He raised his hands slightly in a gesture of acknowledgement. Respect met him from every corner, silent, firm, and earned. The human who had been laughed at, underestimated, and ridiculed had risen above. He had shown the aliens what humans were capable of when skill, courage, and intelligence were combined. In that moment, Liam understood something important. The human edge was not just in fighting, it was in thinking, adapting, and inspiring others. He had survived mockery, conquered fear, and turned adversity into strength. The aliens who had once mocked him would never forget it. And as he walked back to his cell, the other prisoners following him with quiet admiration, Liam knew this was only the beginning. Humans had an edge, and it was unstoppable when they embraced their full potential. The prison, once a place of ridicule and despair, had become a testament to human skill, courage, and intelligence. Liam had proven that size and strength alone could not define power. The human prisoner had become a master, a leader, and a symbol, a living reminder that humans, no matter how small or underestimated, could rise above any challenge.